Thank you, Steph. We are expecting to hear whether or not the last 3 areas of the province will be given the green light to move on to stage 3 in the COVID recovery plan. And of course, that also includes Toronto.
We're still keeping an eye on, always on Toronto, Peel, and especially Essex. And my heart breaks for those folks in Essex. Man, they're getting a tough time of it, but we're going to help them try to move into stage 3.
The Premier not really dropping any hints yesterday when he stopped in Durham to announce a new long-term care facility. Ford avoided some questions on rolling some areas back to stage 2, where COVID cases have risen. Most of Ontario has been allowed to move into that stage 3, which would allow indoor restaurant service and most public spaces and buildings to reopen. Toronto recording just 6 new COVID cases yesterday. Peel had 7. So Toronto right now is working on stage 3 plans. In fact, they have been for some time, and they include bylaws ensuring that diners remain seated the entire time that they are indoors, except when paying or using the washroom. Restaurants would also be required to take down personal information of at least 1 person per party for contact tracing. Other ideas being considered: face coverings or masks in common areas of condo and buildings and apartment buildings, as well as fines of up to $1,000 for people ignoring the social distancing rules at beaches, parks, and public spaces. A Toronto woman speaking out after a disturbing racist incident that happened over the weekend. Justine Abigail Yu. She was reading a book Saturday afternoon in the park at Hollywood Public School near Bayview and Shepherd. That's when a woman accused her of trespassing on private property and threatened to call the police before hurling anti-Asian remarks at her. Yu did not report it to police, but she has reached out to school boards to try to identify the woman who claimed to be a teacher. Now, coming up here at 6:30 on BT, we're going to be speaking with Dr. Barbara Perry. She's from the Ontario Tech University about a new program to combat online hate. We bring you now a disturbing story in North York, where a 2-year-old boy has died after falling from a balcony in the Jane and Finch area.
We're confident that the child probably did fall from either a balcony or a window from this building, and we believe it is on the 14th floor, but we're still early in the investigation and we're still working to confirm which exact apartment this child fell from.
A memorial has grown overnight to remember this young boy. This happened on Driftwood Avenue near Jane and Finch around 5:30 last night. He was found with serious injuries, rushed to hospital where he died. Police are still investigating how this tragedy happened. And we'll bring you more on that story here through the morning. A 3rd suspect has been arrested in a shooting at a Scarborough park that happened 2 years ago, leaving 2 young sisters injured. Those sisters, just 5 and 9 at the time, were shot in the playground near McCowan and McNichol in June of 2018. Investigators estimate that there were about 11 children in the park at the time of the shooting, and they believe 7 shots were fired. 25-year-old Taquan Robertson was arrested yesterday and is now facing 2 counts of attempted murder. Prime Minister Trudeau is set to testify tomorrow over his government's failed contract with the We charity as the investigation gets more tense. And yesterday's grilling of We's co-founders turned ugly.
Mr. Poilievre, the floor isn't yours.
Be to We Foundation.
Mr. Poilievre?
Without prior consent or approval.
Mr. Poilievre, do I have to suspend this meeting? Because I will. Now there will be order. I'll suspend the meeting, and that's it.
Conservative finance critic Pierre Poilievre accusing We co-founders Craig and Mark Kielburger of profiting from the cancelled Canada Student Services grant program, which they deny. The House Finance Committee also wondering why We started hiring workers for the $900 million aid program before the deal was approved. The Kielburgers say they got the go-ahead from civil servants.
We took the risk itself because simply, sir, we wanted to be ready for helping the students. Well, that, and we run a charity. This is what we do. Our whole mission for 25 years has been service to young people. So we were willing to take this risk.
The Kielburgers also defending their decision to hire members of Trudeau's family for speaking events, including his mother, Margaret, who they say is a mental health advocate in her own right. Coming up at 7:30, I'm going to be speaking with a journalist who has been reporting on instances of abuse and bullying within We Charity since 2018 and testified last week. Health Canada giving the okay to the drug remdesivir, making it the first COVID-19 treatment approved in our country.
This is a step that's reasonable in the context of the drug having some effects in COVID-19 patients, and pretty aligned with other countries like the UK, Japan, who have also brought it to approval.
The drug, which has been found to reduce recovery time, is to be used in patients aged 12 and over with severe symptoms like pneumonia or who need extra oxygen to breathe. It's administered intravenously, so it's only used in closely monitored settings. The drug is made by Gilead Sciences Canada. Officials say supply right now is limited. Well, it seems the U.S.'s handling of COVID has Canadians thinking twice about how much we like our neighbors to the south. A new research company poll suggesting 32% of Canadians have a very positive or moderately positive view of the U.S. That's down a sharp 15 points from December. The survey also suggests nationwide, 62% of Canadians hold a negative opinion of the United States. 1,000 Canadians took part in this online survey and has a margin of error of plus or minus 3.1%, 19 times out of 20. Well, Facebook and Ontario University, they are teaming up for a new program that is aimed at combating online hate and extremism. So with that story, that's at 6:30. We're going to be talking to the director behind that project on why she chose the controversial social media site as a partner for that program. So much and more coming up here on BT, including what's up next in business. The negativity over the We Charity controversy has prompted some major sponsors to pull their support or at least think about scaling it back. Mike Epple coming up next.